Okay, so today we are talking about more things Florida. I decided to look up weird Florida laws. Wouldn't you know it? Wasn't surprised. There's apparently a lot of really bizarre ones that I've never heard of, and they honestly kind of sound completely fake, but they're not. I'm gonna break them down. Let's get into it. The first law we got is that in the state of Florida, the law states that you must pay for a parking meter if you tie an elephant, goat, or alligator to it. And it's 2024, and apparently this is still a thing. So I guess if you have like a pet alligator, elephant, if you just casually have a pet elephant or a goat, I feel like the goat sounds like the more like realistic one here, which says a lot, then you gotta pay for the parking meter if you decide to lasso that bad boy to the parking meter. So keep that in mind the next time you're in Florida and decide to bring your pet elephant. What? Number two, and some of these just apply to different localities and not Florida, like the state as a whole. So the last one about tying your animal to the parking meter, that one applies to the whole state of Florida. Some of these apply just to certain areas. So the next one we're talking about, number two, applies just to Pensacola. Not sure why, but it says a woman electrocuted in the bathtub using beauty tools can be fined after she's dead. I mean, talk about morbid. What do you mean? If you're in Pensacola, don't put the flat iron, curling iron, hair dryer next to a bathtub, which you shouldn't be doing anyways, but it's like, why do you gotta fine them after they're dead? So then their family just has to pay for the fact that they electrocuted themselves? Maybe I'll stay away from Pensacola, but also at the same time, I don't plan on doing that. Regardless, it's just bizarre. Just be careful out there, Pensacolians. Okay, this one applies to Florida as a whole. This one says that horse theft is punishable by hanging. So if you go and you decide one night, maybe you get a little drunk and you decide to steal your neighbor's horse just for the fun of it. I don't know what scenario this is happening in, but if you do, you could be punished by hanging. They could hang you. Again, I've never heard of this. I don't know anyone. I guess I don't know people who'd be like stealing horses, but at the same time, like maybe just don't steal a horse to be safe. Like also just bad to steal a horse in general, but then also you don't want to be hanged. So keep that in mind when you visit Florida and you decide to get drunk and steal a neighbor's horse. You're welcome. This one only applies to an area in Florida called Satellite Beach. I actually hadn't heard of Satellite Beach before. I've never been. I'm born and raised in Florida and I've lived here in a while. I've come back after being away for like 10 years and this confirms that Florida's insane, but like I love it in the best way possible. It's insane, I guess. So this one applies, like I said, to Satellite Beach only, but it says being publicly clothed in liquid latex is illegal. I don't even know what that means. Liquid latex? Is that like if you just were to wrap yourself in a condom or something? Like a jumpsuit? It reminds me like the American Horror Story, like latex, like sex suit the guy wears, but also what makes it like liquid? Do you like pour some liquid latex on you and then it dries and it forms like a latex suit? Again, I don't really get the logistics, but if you do happen to be visiting Satellite Beach, make sure you don't do that because it's illegal. You could go to jail. Okay, we got another one that applies to all of Florida and it's a good one, so listen up. Unmarried women parachuting on Sundays could risk jail time. Does that mean skydiving? Who's just going around parachuting? Is that a term? Like I know Tom Cruise like does that, but okay, that's not even the weird part. The weird part is why if you're unmarried and why on Sunday? I'm assuming it's because you're not attending church, but riddle me this, why? And also, I don't think any of these are actually like still being enforced. I'd be like shocked if they are, but yeah, if you're unmarried and you want to go parachuting on Sunday, I guess, and you're a woman, then just be careful because you could end up in jail. I don't even know, this is ridiculous. I don't know if this is actually, this has to be real, but it's like, I don't understand how it's real. Okay, this applies to Sarasota. Again, I haven't been there yet, gotta check it out though. But it says publicly singing in a swimsuit is illegal. So if you're wearing a swimsuit and maybe you're at a resort on vacation and you decide to just belt out some notes, it's illegal. So be careful about that. All you musicians hanging out in swimsuits singing in Sarasota, watch your backs because the cops might come for you. I feel like this is like a South Park episode, but it's not. Okay, this is also applies to Miami, and I feel like this just doesn't apply at all now because there's tons of like drag queen brunches and stuff in Miami. It says that men can't publicly wear a strapless gown in Miami. Be careful. Although again, I know this for a fact isn't being enforced because I've seen a bunch of like men wearing dresses in Miami, so it's just not a thing. I guess that was a law. Maybe it still is. They're just not enforcing it. I don't really know know how these were ever enforced. This is another outrageous one. They're all outrageous. I don't know why I keep saying that. It's just like I can't believe they keep getting weirder. This applies to all of Florida, and it says women who fall asleep under a hairdryer can be fined. So we had the bathtub one, electrocuting yourself, you could be fined after you're dead. And now if you fall asleep under a hairdryer, you can also be fined. I feel like this would apply to like those old school salons where the women would just post up and like talk and read a magazine and stuff while their hair was dried under those like circular machines, you know what I mean? It's like very 50s in my mind. And maybe if you fall asleep under there and it starts a fire, I don't know. But again, I haven't seen one of those. Actually, I did. Yeah, no, I've used one of those. I've used one of those, but in LA. One of those hairdryer things. So yeah, be careful. This also applies to the next one, to Pensacola. This is a really interesting one, and I think it may apply to a lot of you. And by that, I mean none of you. It says that you can't roll a barrel down the street, and depending on the barrel's content, you can be fined. So if you fill a barrel full of alligators or I don't know, whatever you fill barrels with and you decide to roll it down the street, you could be fined depending on what's in it. It doesn't tell you the contents that are in it would be finable, so that we can leave that up to your imagination, but just be careful with the next time you're rolling a barrel down a street in Pensacola. We got two more. This one says that in all of Florida, apparently, it's illegal to skateboard without a license. I didn't know that was a thing. I don't skateboard, to be honest. I wish I did. I feel like it'd be really cool, and I've tried before, and I've just really been bad, really bad. I've crashed and burned. Apparently, if you're doing that, you do need a license. And I know that's not a thing. Well, it could be a thing and maybe just not being enforced because all like the kids in my neighborhood ride skateboards and they're too young to have a license. So riddle me that one, Florida laws. If anyone knows if any of these are currently being enforced, please leave a comment because I am dying to know. And let's do some digging. Let's see which ones are really holding up. Last one, and this might be one of the strangest. It's illegal to lean a bike on a cemetery's tree. So if you are riding your bike through the cemetery, you know, just having a nice bike ride, I don't know why you'd ride it through a cemetery. Cemeteries weird me out. I mean, they're like, it's sad and I feel bad and you know, you visit the grave sites of your loved ones, but I just wouldn't want to spend my free time in a cemetery. So if you don't feel like that and you love riding your bike in cemeteries, just be sure not to lean your bike against a tree. Not a tombstone, don't worry about that. You can lean against a tombstone, but the tree, nah. Okay, so that's it. Let me know if you've heard of any other wild Florida laws because I'm, again, really fascinated by these. I just decided to randomly look it up and wouldn't you know, there were some weird Florida things. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.